Merry Christmas and welcome to the Stone Cottage. Let's head inside. It's a little chilly outside. There's our wreath. I just added a few extra things to a Costco wreath. Welcome inside our nice warm home. Now, we had a Christmas party last night, and so I'm going to show you the decorations that we have for Christmas this year, a few interesting things that I've added, but I'm going to end the video by explaining why we have not been posting, and that will lead into our fun party last night. Anyway, here we go, right here by the door. For those of you that are regular viewers, you know I love to find something fun at the thrift store. And last year, maybe in the spring, I found these darling little snowman pictures that are actually signed and named. You can see this one is Mrs. Flake, and the one up here is Snow Angel. They have beautiful frames on them, and they are actually mixed media, so they're individual little works of art. They were $3.99. The frame was worth a great deal more than that. They're professionally framed and very nice, but I thought they were fun. I mean, what a deal. Actual little works of art. And just some favorite Christmas cards from the year. And I do have one of my candles that has some kind of electrical issue. Not quite sure why he's not working, but we'll work on him later, see if it's his battery or what he needs. But I use those every year in my window. And then up here, the candy carriage that I bring out every year at Christmas. And these are some faux greenery along with some real ivy and a little bit of real holly that we can find around. And here's a vintage Santa Claus, probably from the early 60s. That's an old family piece that I remember from my childhood. And Santa has to have a puppy and a Santa kitty. And over here, the little ceramic Christmas tree lights that were big in the 1960s. This actually is a vintage one that had belonged to my grandmother in the 1960s. But they are making them again and selling them. And our Christmas tree. So this year, I found this black and white with a little bit of gold, pretty ribbon at Costco. The best way to buy ribbon, unquestionably, is at Costco. This was 50 yards, and before Halloween, it was $5.99 for the spool, which, I mean, that's what, 11, 12 cents a yard? So that's a lot. And the theme this year for our tree is nature. So I have some of the dried hydrangeas from my hydrangea bushes. I have some magnolia leaves that I dried last year in glycerin, and they last quite well. And I've put in fun things that remind me of Christmas in the woods, like Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus, or a bluebird, little bird houses, little chickadees, some berries, and of course we had to put the baby in the walnut. And here's his friend, the squirrel. So everything on the tree reminds me of something out in nature. And of course we had to put Jesus is the reason on there, and he's just a nice little primitive one made out of wood, but I thought we just can't have it without something to remind us. And another bird. Yeah, look, there are a couple of birds. the vintage Christmas tree skirt that it actually has a date on it, and it's 1956 that my grandmother made. And it's been under a Christmas tree for almost 70 years. We take very good care of it. And I have a squirt bottle. The kitty likes to sit on it for some reason. Cats are attracted to this thing. So we have a squirt bottle. Anytime he gets under the tree, he gets a squirt. And fun Christmas pillows. Simple little arrangement here. A piece of faux greenery, some real pine cones, and some real holly. Another little bird, so I'm keeping that theme kind of going throughout the room here. And since I don't have a mantle in my house, we decorate the top of the Christmas tree like it was the mantle. Unfortunately, I don't know if you can see, those are stairs right behind the piano. So Kirby the kitty, who does not climb, but he does climb the stairs, and he crawls over the edge of the stairs, gets on the piano, and I have to, again, he's just really curious about everything that's going on this season. Pets get real excited about that. But some greenery, and this is our fun snowman collection. Snowman from the 50s, the 80s. Well, here's Santa cross country skiing. We have to do that. And we've got some brass reindeer. Now, all of my candles have burned down short because you're getting the tail end. It was the end of the party, and I just did not feel like replacing the candles. So when you see a short candle, just know it's because it burned all evening. Another cute, fun little snowmen all along here. And the old Christmas music from the late 60s, early 1970s. And those were the things that I grew up playing. And we could always talk my mother into buying Christmas music. So she would treat us to sheet music for Christmas. And of course, I always decorate my grandmother's china cabinet for Christmas. And in the summer, I had put a piece of driftwood up here, and I thought that would be really fun with just a little greenery and a Santa Claus. Now, this Santa Claus was made by our friend Chris Berger, and when he was younger, he worked in a shop that did, I guess, river tours or something. And when the oars would break, he would cut them off, and that's the handle of an oar. And then he would use wood burning and create Santas out of the end of the oar. So I always love the story, and reminds me of my dear friend. And there are the pine cones and some faux greenery. And down here, my holly plates and my holly pitcher, which I love. And I love to put beautiful cut crystal underneath the lights here because it really makes them sparkle. I don't know how well you can tell that through the cabinet, but when you're here, they really sparkle. Here's a dome. Now, this is my latest acquisition. Went into a thrift store looking for something for the party that was last night, and this was $2.50, and it was covered with dust and did not look all that attractive. But I looked at it and I picked it up and I'm like, that's cut crystal. So it's lead crystal and very beautiful and really catches the light well. And I always bring out the green stemware for Christmas. And there's a little Santa Claus back in there. Have all kinds of little Santa Claus collections that I like to tuck around. And down here, just some little houses. My little granddaughters love these tiny little houses, so they're down low so the little ones can see them when they come, because they are coming right after Christmas. Oh, before I head there, I'm going to show you what I've done in our little tiny powder room. On the door is a wooden Santa. He's kind of fun. And I've just added a little greenery and a ribbon. And above the mirror, little greenery, ribbons, and one of those funny little pencil Santas, and a little framed piece of wood carving from the 1980s, very 1980s. But there's the powder room. You always have to make sure your powder room looks nice if you're having a party, because invariably people head into the powder room. Now, down the hallway to the rest of the house, which is where the majority of the party was, because it's our larger rooms, and a pretty arrangement over a mirror. Arrangements over a mirror, so nice because it doubles the effect when it's reflected. And this acted as our little drinks stand last night, and I had to wipe off the cranberry juice. There was cranberry juice on it, but had some sparkling cider. So our dead soldiers were sparkling cider bottles, and some sparkling water and some cranberry juice. And I love to decorate the brass sconces. Some ribbon and some real holly from my son's yard. And the greenery here on this particular lamp was the boxwood that I preserved using glycerin and floral dye, a green floral dye. Now, this little candy jar happens to be empty at the moment because the cookies that were in here were a soft gingerbread cookie, and they kind of, unless they're flat, they tend to kind of curve and bend because they're so soft. And so I took them out and put them back in the tin and propped up a nice Christmas plate and a very 1980-ish pencil Santa. And this one, actually, I've seen things like this in thrift stores. He's just made out of plastic, but I always thought he was kind of cute, and he's pretty next to the little boxwood trees that I made out of my preserved boxwoods. Now, you can see down the room, but over here on the side, simple little snow globe and candle, and just tucking a little piece of holly on the shelf there makes it look a little more festive. And of course, I always change things out on the top of the china armoire, and added a bunch of ribbon, and there are some, I don't know how well you can see, but there are some fairy lights up there too. I didn't decorate that much up there this year. And the chafing dish is back up on top. It was down last night because of the party. And here on the table, most of this is actually real. So there are preserved magnolia leaves, the holly. The fruit actually was a thrift store find from several years ago, and I just tucked that in. And then there are several pieces of hydrangea. Now, we had to have a white elephant for last night, and the white elephant that did not make it out of the house was this ridiculous bottle. It's supposed to be a cheese platter. I'll try getting rid of it. Nobody would take it. So, a ridiculous cheese platter. But it does have a cute little knife on it. But who wants a melted bottle? I don't know. And just a quick look here around the kitchen. I did not do much in the kitchen because there was so much cooking going on. I actually served in the kitchen, and we had a pasta bar with 3 different kinds of pastas, 3 kinds of sauces, roasted vegetables, and a green salad. So I didn't want to put a lot of decorations in here. I served on Christmassy platters, so the vegetables were on the holly platter. The ice was in the soup tureen on the marble top. And there were some fresh additions that were on this little Spode Christmas plate. And I just used the cake stand because we had pasta bowls, and so, to stack up the serving items. And this is about all the decoration I had, was just to stick in a little piece of holly and a couple of little ornaments. That's about all I did in here because I just didn't have room. But some pretty seasonal fruit adds a lot of festive color, and just adding in a few extra ivy leaves. That's just faux ivy leaves that I keep around my fruit all the time because it just makes it look a little more festive. Now, back into the family room. For those of you that know my house, we removed a chair because we had about a dozen people here, and 2 of them actually use wheelchairs, so it was like I needed to move furniture because when people are bringing their own furniture, you have to get rid of some of yours. But we were able to get a dozen people tucked around here. And each little table can have a sweet little vignette, so that has a little nativity and a candle with some greenery and a ribbon on the lamp. And of course, we have to be distracted by the Amazon Echo, but here a pretty little nativity with a candle. And I have to keep my plant by the window. I'm hoping he will bloom again. And a faux amaryllis. And the greenery around the window, I love this. These were the Christmas balls that my grandmother decorated, all kinds of, their bells and stars. I'm going to turn him so he looks at us. And this is one that was made for me when I was a little girl. I kind of remember working on it myself, but my grandmother had her beads and things, and she would let us work on it when I must have been a preschooler, but I didn't know how to spell my name. She probably helped. And let's see if I can get the light on that right. Yeah. In the 50s and the early 60s, they would make very interesting shapes of styrofoam. And my grandfather was always on the lookout for interesting shapes. And I really like these decorations all clustered on the garland because they really stand out more. And then to have the gold ribbon, which really brings out more sparkle. I have added some little crystal ornaments and some silver ornaments. The light such that you can't see that one well. You can see the unusual shape there. And bells. But this is one of my favorite things to do, is to pull out the things that my grandmother made that have such strong sentimental memories for me. And then over here, my little Mackenzie Childs owls that I found at a thrift store, some more preserved boxwoods with just a little sprig of holly to give it a touch of red. And my butterflies are still here. And I did catch someone actually looking at my butterflies last night, which pleased me because I love the butterflies. And then down over here, candles, and holly. And I love to tuck in a little bird. This one's down low enough that my little granddaughter can play with it, and so he has no beak, but that's okay. He was inexpensive, on clearance, I think, like $2 or $3. And the fact that she loves it that's worth more than anything, that she loves to play with the birdies. And again, very low candle there left over from the party. And again, each little table should make a little vignette. And I love the cardinal this time of year with a pretty candle and more holly berries. Now you can kind of see into the bedroom, and you can see I do have a wreath on the door. And my bedroom looks extremely cluttered at the moment because that extra chair is actually tucked into the bedroom here. And over here, this was our dessert station. So we had the spode plates, and starting at the top, for those of you that are old enough to remember these things, just a little piece of holly on top. And for anybody that can remember magic cookie bars, and these, we call these box turtles on the left here. It's an Oreo cookie crumb base with toasted pecans and caramels and chocolate on top. And it has some other name, but that's a turtle with pecans, caramel, and chocolate. And so we call them box turtles. And the haystacks, that's the only one left. I've got a tin full of them, but I'm not going to set out any more because it's not Christmas quite yet. And then, of course, the reflection in the mirror makes it more interesting. And, of course, if I have a sconce, I'm going to put a little decoration on it. But down underneath, simple favorite is a chocolate shortbread. And I use a cookie stamp on it, so they look a little festive, but super easy to make. A friend brought me some caramel corn, so that's over here. So when people are looking for something sweet to eat, they know to come here and they can find it. And here, this one probably needs to be refilled a little bit. This is our English toffee, which is always a fun treat. And the cookie jar down here, little miniature pecan pies. So people could take their plate and choose a variety of treats. And that was a fun way to finish off the meal. Now, who came for the party were some people that we have recruited to join us in our new assignment. So why I have not had time to do videos is our church has asked us to start an employment service center here in the Washington, D.C. area. And it was just the two of us, and it's a big space that needs to be filled. So we have been doing a lot of training. That is not our professional background. So we have been out convincing people that they should volunteer to help others in the community that have employment needs. And we've been training our new recruits, and we have been working on getting our facility open and working with other organizations in the community. And this is considered a service mission by our church. We are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And if you have anyone that has employment needs, they do not have to be a member of our church. Anyone that has employment needs throughout the United States and into Canada, they can reach out to the church's website. It's just employment.churchofjesuschrist. If they are looking to get some free help with resumes, interview skills, and networking skills, things that help you, personal coaching to help you find a job. So we are extremely excited about it, but it is a really time-consuming responsibility. And so the people we invited last night are people that are joining to help us, which we're very, very excited about working with them. Just an exceptionally nice group of people that want to give back and serve. And if it's something that you might be interested in doing, you can also be a volunteer. You don't have to be a member of our church to volunteer or to be a part of it. But it's a wonderful way to help the community. And I'm just excited for the opportunities to do that. And I can't say I won't post any more videos, but they are going to be few and far between in the future. But we feel like what we're doing is more important. But we are very excited to be working and so excited for the holiday season, and hope that you and your family and friends will have a Merry Christmas and remember the reason for the season. And I will talk with you again, hopefully in the future. Maybe in the spring something will come out. See you later. Merry Christmas.